Hold
Sorry.
on. I began making little movies when I was a boy, mostly because I used to build models, tanks and planes, and then I would blow them up. And my mother was frightened that I was going to go blind, so she bought me a little movie camera so that I could stand far away when I blew up the things that I built, because as a little boy, that's what I liked to do, blow it up. And then I started making movies of the things I blew up. I don't know that my life changed very much, because now I just blow up things that are much bigger, like buildings and planes and things like that. So,
Mhm.
but what I have done in my career is moved from being an actor to a film director to a writer, ultimately to a producer, because you have to raise all the money and do all the business to create that. The other thing that has been a big part of my life for many years has been not just telling stories in many forms. So I'm a writer, and I am a producer. I am an actor. My passion is directing, and that is where I have the most desire for my own life. A little bit more about me: I live in Malibu, California. I have an amazing wife, two beautiful little boys. They're 4 years old and 6 years old. And, and I just became the head soccer, or you would call football coach, for my 6-year-old boys team. And, I'm not a very good soccer player. We call it soccer in America. Um, so my passion is making movies and documentaries and television. I'm also an internationally published author in about 27 countries. And I write about human consciousness, the power of being, the power of your own capacity to create what it is that you want in your own life. And this, I think, is mostly the thing that I discover people do is that they believe that they have to have something, right? I have to have this leading role in a movie so that, once I have that, then I can do the things that, like, a famous actor will do, and then I can be happy. The reality of the way life works is life works in the reverse. First, you enter a state of being. In other words, and if I'm a director speaking to you as actors, okay, what I'm going to be talking to you about the most is who you're being. What kind of person are you being, right? This is very evident. You can look into your own life, and let's make it simple. It's like you go to a Hollywood party. Okay, maybe you see a famous actor or actress that you really want to talk to, who has been a hero for you because of the roles they have played, and then you go to talk to them, and who they're being is an asshole, meaning they're being very rude and disrespectful, and not don't speak to you in a nice tone of voice. Their beingness is not in alignment with your perception of them, of how much you have respected them or loved the work that they've done, because who they're being isn't great, right? Now, you could see that same person, you could walk up to them and introduce yourself, and you're a little nervous and scared, and they turn around and they're gracious, and they're sweet, and they're kind, and they offer you a seat at their table, and they're very interested in you and what your dreams are and what's happening in your life. So those are two different types of beingness that someone can have. So when you're standing in a place in your own life of who you're being, what kind of human being you are, and then naturally a state of passion and love and joy, let's just stick in the realm of acting, for the performance of life, that if that way of being is inside of you, then what will happen is that the things to do will automatically show up, right? And what I mean by that is like it will become evident while you're in the state of joy that you will move into something and say yes to something that brings you more joy. And then ultimately, as you be this way, and then the things to do arrive within this state of being, then suddenly you will begin to have the things that you really wanted in life. So that is the way, the flow of how life works. It works in, and I'm sure you've all heard this before, but I'm saying it again, it works in the be, do, have realm. When you meet people or you yourself get consumed with, I have to have this role, so then I can do that role, so then I can be a famous actor and I can be happy. Okay? It doesn't work that way. That will be something you chase for the rest of your life. And even if you get it, you will still never be happy. Like many famous actors that I've met who still aren't happy. All right, which is why many of them succumb to alcohol and drugs or other things that don't support them. All right, and I've known quite a few very famous ones and worked with hundreds of famous actors. Some of them are just extraordinary, amazing human beings, and some of them are not. They're constantly struggling because they're always in this reverse circle, meaning they're trying to have everything and then do everything so that they can finally be happy or joyful or ecstatic or passionate or loving. So it works in the reverse. So as a director, this is very much how I would speak to you as a performer, that if you're giving voice to a soul that doesn't have one, then what's important is that you dive into a deep state of being. So let's take a quick moment. And since I have the microphone and in this moment I'm your director, I want you all to close your eyes. You're going to take a deep breath in for the count of 4. Hold it. Release. Take another deep breath in. Hold it. And release. Now, why am I doing this simple breathing exercise with you? Well, as models, you've all figured out that you can go almost a month without eating much food, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we have to care about our. But you know, beside modeling, you have to care yourself, your body, for sure.
That's right.
If you want to look good.
Exactly. So you don't have to eat a lot of food, you discovered. And water is very important, but unless you're in a desert or a very extreme environment, you can go a good 3-4 days without drinking water. It's hard, but you can. But how long do you think you will live without breathing air? How long?
I can't. No, I can't. Even 1 minute, 1 second. I love air. I can't live without air.
Without
That's
air?
for sure. No,
Right?
I can't.
None of us can. So it's really important to check in with yourself on what the depth of your breath is. Your breathing is important. Breath, right?
Breathing is important for the everything, for the many stuff. Of
Correct.
course. Yeah.
For
If you
all
sing,
of it.
if you're doing anything, you must breathe very correctly. That's so important.
So with this, the breath and mind, we move into this other conversation about one of the other things that I do. So I have a program called The Director's Way. The Director's Way, and maybe you've heard of the book The Artist's Way or other things, or how people follow a particular path of thinking. So inside the Director's Way, the underlying concept of the Director's Way is this: that you, and I literally mean you, are the writer, the star, the producer, and the director of your epic blockbuster life story movie, right?
Mhm.
Now, you know you're the writer because one way, shape, or form, you have to keep your schedule and post your social media and take your notes and do whatever you do. So you're writing. People are actually writing all day long. If you send one text, you're writing, okay? And you also know you're the star because you're the one that has to look in the mirror every day, and you're the one figures out what your wardrobe is and your makeup is and how to keep your body in shape and do all the different things that you're doing as the star. You're the producer of your life because you're the one that's out there, A, making money, B, figuring out how to pay the bills or do the things that you need to do in order to keep your career and your life going. But what most people forget, and I'm asserting that you have forgotten, is that you're also the director of your life. And to understand this concept of taking the director's chair of your own life, there are several simple ways to understand it. The easiest way to understand that you have forgotten that you're the director of your own epic life story is to just ask yourself who you're pissed off at. Pretty simple. Who am I angry at? So if you're still mad at mommy, you're still mad at your mother, then guess who's in the director's chair of your story? Your mommy, not you. If you're mad at your father, if you're mad at your boyfriend, your husband, the government, whoever, if where your energy is on, meaning where what you're upset about, right, or who you're upset at, and granted that can change moment to moment. It can also be something that's just been there forever. You know, I'm mad at this person, or I hate this person, or I'm angry at this person. Well, then that is the person that is sitting in the director's chair of your life story, not you. So in the director's way, one of the things that we work on is we teach people to discover the power of being the director of your own life story, your story, okay? Your story is fascinating and your story is interesting. And there are many ways that we do this. And going back to this conversation on being, I want to do a very simple exercise with all of you. This is called the end scene. So in the director's way, the first training module is called Unleash the Story Within. Unleash the story within. Let the story you have inside of you come out, right? So the first training module, this is a 4-week course that also has a bonus 5th week, but this 4-week course is about unleashing the power of your own personal story. And so in this moment, what I'd like you all to do is take a deep breath in, close your eyes, breathe in, hold it, release, keep your eyes closed, okay? And now with your eyes closed, I want you to imagine the end scene of your epic life story movie. Now, when I say imagine the end scene, I don't mean the one where they bury you in the ground, throw dirt on your face, everybody cries for a second, and then somebody says, I'm hungry, let's go eat. I don't mean that scene. I mean the scene in your life where everything worked, all of it. You have been the star of multiple major motion pictures. You have just won the Academy Award for the best performance of a lifetime in a leading lady role. You are wherever your favorite place you want to be in the world, you're there. Where is that? In your mind's eye, envision where that is. Right? Is it on a yacht off the coast of Saint-Tropez? Is it in a penthouse in New York City looking out over the city? Are you where I am on the beaches in Malibu, walking along? Who's with you? Who is or who are the people that you most see with you in that scene? What is,
Sorry, you're
I'm asking you to just envision it in your mind.
sorry.
Just envision it. Stay in the visioning process, right? I am going to ask you all to write this down for yourselves later, but stay in this process. Who is in this scene?
I'm alone.
Alone is good too. Perhaps,
Alone?
perhaps
Yeah.
you're meditating
On the
on a
beach.
beach.
And I'm
What music is playing? Okay. Pull yourself back
oh.
together. What music is playing?
Mm.
What does the air feel like?
No. I only listen the sea sound.
Hard rock.
Beautiful. To the ocean. So the point here is very simple, is to imagine yourself in this future time frame. What in this end scene gives you the most joy, the most pleasure, most beauty, the most of everything that you have wanted, envisioned for your own life? And in this moment of the end scene of your story, right, this feeling you have, this experience of life, like the joy and the fulfillment and the love, like the complete and total oneness with your own life that you feel. You imagine that, and now you bring all of that feeling back to this present moment, and that feeling gets transmuted into a state of consciousness, a way of being, of thinking from the heart, from the mind, right? And now in this moment, now you begin to write, and it's something you should all do today. Maybe some of you or all of you journal, keep a diary. But in this moment, then what you do is you begin to write out the story that you want to see unfolding in your life, how you would like to see it going. Because as the director of your epic life story, it is literally your job to lead your life. And I'm not saying you're not doing that already. You wouldn't be on this phone call, and you would not have won this place in your life. You're not, because you didn't like win it by chance. What I know about all of you is that you earned it. You deeply earned it. I'll give you a short little story. So I know time is coming to the end, and you may have some questions. And it's a very, very tiny amount of time we get to spend together. But many, many, many years ago, in a distant land on the other side of the United States, there was a little boy. And that little boy was only 6 years old. And that little boy wanted to be like the big boys so much. He just wanted to be a big boy. And the big boys were riding their bicycles in the mountains on these dangerous, trails and roads through the mountains. And so that little boy wanted to do the same thing. So he tried to follow the big boys on his bicycle, which was not meant for the woods. It was meant more for the streets of a city. And he went down a very, very steep part of the mountain, and he made a mistake, and he pulled the wrong brake, the little handle brakes. He pulled the wrong one. And that bike went tumbling end over end over end over end down this mountain. So at the bottom of this mountain, this little boy lay broken in 100 little pieces, still alive, but broken. Then that little boy ended up in a hospital with all kinds of metal and pins and pulleys and rods, and he would listen to the doctors talk about how A, he was lucky he was alive, and B, how he would maybe never walk again. Every night, that little boy's mother would come sit next to his bed and whisper in his ears. Not only would he walk, you will walk, my son. You will run. You will live with passion. That little boy was me. That woman was my mother. She died very young, in her early 30s. Terrible, terrible car accident. But that little boy dreamed. He dreamed that one day, not only would he walk and run, but he would create, and he would build things, and he would make things, and he would do things. And so he dreamed, and he dreamed many things, and then began to write the things he dreamed of. And that experience, that truth of who he wanted to be, by projecting his mind into the future, not living in the pain, and the anguish and the brokenness of that moment, but rather in the possibility of who he was in the future, is what brought me to this moment in my life where I have fulfilled on so many of my dreams. I've traveled the world. I've written the books and the movies. I've directed the biggest Academy Award winning and Emmy Award winning and Grammy Award winning actors, musicians. I've worked with, thousands upon thousands of people. I've made movies and television series and commercials and music videos and video games. And I've, spoken on stages around the world. And I've been a teacher and a creator. And the thing that I wanted the most in my life at a certain point was to be a husband and a father. And that's where I am now. And the other thing I realized for myself is that I wanted to support and teach and help other people discover and realize their own dreams. Right? So part of being a great actor is being able to access the depth of your own well of emotion, your own ability to articulate not only your own story, but to give the voice to the soul that doesn't have one, as Meryl Streep says, right? And you do that by discovering this process of visioning for yourself, coming from being, then doing, and then having all the things you wanted in life. And from my perspective, you engage in the act of story creation for yourself so that you're writing the script that you want to tell, and you're directing that script while you're doing it. Right? That is, to me, what matters. Sorry, someone rang the front bell of the home. So, yeah, I know we've hit our half-hour mark, but I'm happy to answer some questions if anybody has any questions.
Just to introduce, Svetlana is the director from Serbia, and she's going to be help managing all our talents, and also help to coordinate with the programs when we during the training. So, is any one of you have questions?
No, not yet.
Okay, cool. So that you ladies are aware, we have, there's a course that we run here in Los Angeles, but it's virtual. It's called The Director's Way, Unleash the Story Within. The course is $4,997 US. It's an expensive course. There's typically about 20 people in it. I lead that course along with another group of people. Because of my involvement with this foundation, we have created an opportunity to reduce the course, take $4,000 off of the price, and the course will be $997 US. If you ladies want, you are welcome to speak with Melu and the foundation about participating in that course at that reduced price. That's about, I don't know, 80% off of the price. The course is limited. There's only a certain amount of people that's let in, typically max 15 to 20. The course lasts for 1 month. It runs typically on Wednesdays, and to deal with European time, there's usually, we start at 10 a.m. That's the earliest the course will start. It's a Zoom call once a week, plus there's a back-end portal, training videos, and coaching from me and some of my other team. So that opportunity exists for all of you if you choose. Again, that's an active choice in your own life, but we spend over a month together working on many of these same distinctions that I spoke about, but in much deeper terms.
Well, thank you for offer such a valuable lessons to us. And Demian is very busy working on his own movie project, and also spend time on his own training programs. And that course is really valued for over 4,000. And now we got the, less than 1,000. And for all of you, maybe foundation, we can, give you more, valuable, package along with it. But, I think it's a very good chance for everybody who wants to be the director, or want to go into the movie industry, or want to, film your own story. This is a very valuable, classes and a training class to get from him.
If I goes to the course, and what's happening when I finish with that course of 1 month? What we doing after that?
The course, if you choose to continue, then the course moves into how you are creating your offer to the world, meaning all of you have something unique about yourselves that you are committed to giving to the world, right? And you can talk about it from the perspective of being, an actor. Okay, great. But beyond being just the actor, what is it that you truly want to contribute to the world? And so the course moves into this world of looking at, now that you have a power over your own story, and you suddenly discover the power of your own story. Like for you, Ivana, you probably have a pretty fascinating story, personal one. And you start to look at how do you express that story in the world in such a way that it moves, touches, and inspires the rest of the world. And I don't know what that is, but you go into the discovery of it. Are you going to write a book about your adventures in life? Are you going to write a screenplay about the adventures of this young girl, Ivana, and how she became who she is today and how she's continuing to discover her life? Are you going to make a very powerful promotional video about yourself that you can then bring to the world? That's like, how do you craft that, lack of a better story, way to say it, a mini documentary on yourself that lets all of the casting director and movie creators and people that are outside of the current sphere you're in know that you're there and that you exist. So these become questions that you start to ponder and ask, and then develop a plan for the fulfillment of the dreams that you see inside of that end scene that we began to talk about, right? When you truly are creating the life that you're committed to having, and the story that you're committed to telling, right? So that's the point. We're all actively telling these stories in our own life. And that's the next part.